Great. Just checking the microphone is working and we're ready to go. So Thursday morning yoga. Come back to your mats. Let's make sure you've got everything you need. So as usual, a strap or a stretchy band, a couple of blocks if you've got them, or a couple of books or a chair perhaps to fold onto, and maybe a blanket or a cushion or something. I'm going to put those to one side and we'll come and settle into nice breath practice to start. So just going to sit comfortably. Okay. Just taking the hands, doesn't matter if the legs aren't crossed, they can be out, you can be sitting on a chair to do this, you can be wherever feels comfortable. Let's just check into the breath. So from wherever you are, whatever time of day you're doing this, just take a moment to really be present for your practice. And we find that presence through the breath. So you may want to place your hands around your rib cage. Remember we did this before, bringing the fingertips together. And as you inhale, feeling then the rib cage expanding. And then as you exhale, the fingertips soften back together. You can bring in that Ujjayi breath we were starting to work on last week, the seashell, the ocean breath. Do you remember we talked about it as fogging a mirror up and then drawing the fog back in up the nose? So it's a breath that goes over the soft palate. So you can hear the sort of sound of the breath as it moves over the soft palate. It can be as loud or as quiet as you want it to be. I'm going to make it quite loud so you can hear me. I'm hoping the microphone picks up on that. Just another round or two. Release. So do you remember, just to really go over, if you were trying to remember what that breath was, it's the drawing the fog off the mirror. You know, you're in a steamy bathroom. You just draw it up to the back of the nose. And then if you can, if you want to exhale it through the mouth, do, but imagine you're refogging the mirror up, either through the mouth or through the nose. So if you through the mouth, it's a really long exhalation. It's not a, it's a long, slow exhalation. Or through the nose, you would just blowing that fog, creating that fog up on the mirror. Okay, I'm going to leave that, just, or you can stay with that lovely long slow breath, just keep practicing it throughout. You'll find if you go to a yoga class anywhere, you'll hear this noise, and it's people using the Ujjayi breath. They use it the whole way through their yoga practice to keep them really focused on the practice, and also to extend the breath. So they're working with breath the entire time, which, as we know, is the essence of yoga. I'd like you to take your awareness to the tip of the tailbone, right at the bottom of the tailbone. We're just going to move a little bit around the tailbone. So we're going to place it like a 10-pence piece at the tailbone, and that's as far as we're moving it. Visualize a clock face, so 12 o'clock at the front, 6 o'clock at the back, and you're just going to tilt the tailbone, 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock. So you can't even see if I'm moving, barely, because it's a 10-pence piece movement. It doesn't need to be a big movement. It's a little unwinding of the spine and bringing movement to the body. Just being aware of that tiny little tilt of the tailbone. You're not pushing or forcing. It's an interesting tilt. You can do this with your back against the wall. You can do this sitting on the chair. And you can do this standing up. Okay. We'll come back to that. Let's drop that. We're going to do the same thing from the rib cage, from a place just below the rib cage. So if you feel to where the rib cage joins at the center, and then we get this little thing that kind of heads downwards, which might actually, it's a little sort of space between the rib cage, and it can be a bit sore if you push in there. Anyway, there's something called the xiphoid process in there. And that is a little thing that sort of sticks down, it's a bit of cartilage. And that's what we're going to visualize moving in the same way, 12 to 6 to 12 to 6. So I'm not moving with my shoulders, but I'm visualizing moving from this place in here, 12 to 6. And again, think of it as a 10p piece, maybe a 50, but definitely not your 30cm ruler. Can you attach a breath to that movement? Not forcing. Almost like we're just kind of flossing up the spine. We're going to add a bit more movement to that because it's a bit freer up in this area as we're sitting up. If you were lying down, you'd be able to do this for the lower part, for the pelvis, but we're just going to do this from the rib cage. So take it to 12, to 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We're going to go back from 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 12 o'clock. And remember, that was all using that xiphoid process. If you want to practice that again, just press pause and do that again. Okay, so if you want to just take it little 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, center, 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and anywhere in between, please feel free. Remember, small movements. Bring it back to center. Now we're going to take that awareness back up to that soft palate that we were just breathing with. And think, you know, it's right at the back of the roof of the mouth. You can feel it. Put your finger in there. And you're going to visualize moving from the soft palate. So we're not kind of dropping and collapsing the head forward at all. What we're doing is we're taking the soft palate to where we think the eyes might be. So it comes kind of in front of the eyes if we still had the head upright. And then we take it back. And a little bit lifted and back from its normal place. We're not throwing the head back. And then a little bit forward. So take a few of those, and again, attach breath to each movement. How's the breath feeling? How's the spine feeling? The hips are sore. If you're sitting in a place that isn't comfortable, please move. Good. These should be really enjoyable, really comfortable, pleasurable movement. Bring it back to center, and we're going to take the same. We're going to take it at the crown of the head. So visualizing the kind of circle, almost just a 10p piece again, or maybe a bit bigger, at the crown of the head. And we're going to go in circles here. We're going to go from 12 o'clock at the front. So it's not kind of huge movements with the neck. Actually, and I'll talk you through what the reason I'm sort of doing these. So we'll go from 12 to 1, 2, to 3, to 4, to 5, to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, back to the front, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, back to center and lift. Come to center, and I'd like you to take a couple more in each direction, but really, really slow. Or if you want to have that speeded up too, but just be aware. So if I talk you through the reasoning for doing this, it might inform. So if you carry on, it might inform how fast or how big the circle is. So I was doing a class last week, and this wonderful yoga instructor who I follow, she lives in New Zealand, so I only get to do classes online with her nowadays. She did used to travel to Europe and London a bit. She was talking about how she was trying to work out, you know, when you go to a cranial osteopath or sometimes a chiropractor but just a body worker who does that really lovely movements. Sometimes they put their hand under the base of the spine, or they'll put their head around your neck and your head, and they'll do those movements that you're not doing, but they do those lovely sort of swaying movements that release so much around the head, the neck, the lower back, the pelvis with tension. And it's really difficult to recreate those without someone doing it for you. So she was trying to find a way that was close enough to still feel that you had the support of something around you, but you were able to create the movement that released. So it was effortless movement. And that was just what we were trying to do. So maybe that reinforms how you take all that movement. So I'd really urge you to try that again at some point, but with this idea in mind that your head is being cradled and it's restorative, effortless, restful movement. Okay, good. So let's draw those knees up. If you've been sitting like me cross-legged for a little while, it's probably feeling a little bit tight. Okay, give it all a bit of a stretch out. And we're actually going to come up to standing. So roll onto all fours. Give the spine a little roll around and back the other way so that you've got some movement going on. Tuck the toes under, walk the hands back to the knees, roll yourself up and uncurl all the way up to standing. I'm just going to stand on a mat. Good. And we're going to roll forward and back on those feet just so that we can start to find the floor beneath you. So gently rolling onto toes. If you're comfortable lifting up into tiptoes, do that, and then roll back and lift the toes and spread the toes, and then lift up and roll it down and back and lift the toes, and then lift up with the heels all the way up. Trying to get a little balance there, seeing if you're always off that big toe. See if you can, unless you've got pain in the big toe, obviously. But otherwise, see if you can get the whole foot spread, all those toes spread evenly down, so it's not just always the side of the foot that takes the strain. Last one, bring it forward. Bring it all the way down. Lift the toes. Drop them down to the floor. Have the feet about hip distance apart. And let's start a little bit of rotation around the spine. Let the gaze come to the horizon and let the head just follow the nose. So just a little bit of movement all the way around. Keep it going. And let's bring that gently back to center. Roll up through the shoulders. And I'm going to suggest we grab a block here. Now, just one of the blocks. And we're going to plant it in between the the legs. So preferably just above the knees. If it's too wide to go on this, so it's the short edge in front, then turn it up if you prefer that. I like it this way around. And rather than gripping and squeezing, draw up from the inner ankles all the way up to the groin so that you have this sense of lift. And again, watch the shoulders here. So if you've done something with your shoulders this week and they're feeling sore, please keep the arms down. If you're feeling strong, feel free to lift them up. There's also the halfway alternative. Okay, inhaling. And as you exhale, you're going to sink the hips down. You either bring the arms up or you stretch them behind you. Lift and open the chest as you rise. Bring the ears between the arms. Good, pausing here. Sink the hips a little further back, draw the belly back towards the hips. So you're sending yourself that way. You've got the hips slightly tucking in, hips to rib cage. And then exhale, let's fold all the way down. Head down, tuck the chin in. Lovely. Heels of the hands underneath the knees. Lift and lengthen halfway, your Ardha Uttanasana. Down to forward fold, your Uttanasana. And then curl yourself. So soften the knees, let the fingers trail on the legs as you uncurl yourself. Squeeze the bottom, bring the hips forward. Roll the shoulders out. Inhale and exhale back to Utkatasana. Chair pose. So you do what you do with your arms. If your arms are up, try and bring the ears in between them. Good. Sink the hips back a bit more. Lengthen the tailbone away. Draw the hip bones up towards the rib cage. And exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. Standing forward fold, draw the chin in towards the throat. Good, soften the knees, slide the heels of the hands underneath the knees and lengthen out into your Ardha, half Uttanasana, your half forward fold. And exhale, roll it down. And curl yourself all the way back up. Right. Last time doing the Utkatasana, the chair pose. Lengthen and sink. If you've done enough with your shoulders already, please be kind to them. Lengthen them away. Good. Draw the belly back into the pelvis, tuck the tailbone, hip bones up towards rib cage. Good. And curl yourself down. Forward fold, chin up to throat, lift and lengthen Ardha Uttanasana, open up the chest. Good. And fold. Uncurl all the way up to standing. And lift. And let's release those arms. Release that off. Make sure the hips feel okay. Grab your strap. And just a little bit, doesn't matter if the arms don't go behind, they can just come up to the head, just moving them. Moving them is good, depending on any injuries you have, but still, most of you know that you've been given a band by a physio at some point, if you've been to see one, about a shoulder injury. So just work within your own ability. Hoping you can't hear all the clunks and clicks in my shoulders today. Good. Bring the hands up to the sky or slightly in front if that feels better. Remember, tuck the pelvis so that you're not moving from the lower back. And let's stretch down one side. You can rotate the head to the sky, rotate it down, push through the feet. So both feet stay fully planted the whole way through this. So you keep my right foot fully planted. If I mirror you, that's it. And bring that all the way up, soften the knees, and we're going to take a little roll around there. So upper back, roll around, not lower back, the knees are bent, so we're making sure we're not heading directly into them there. Bring that back up. And let's bring those arms down. Make sure you haven't built anything up in the neck. Keep that nice and soft. Let's release that on. So we're going to need a block. We're going to take a few warrior ones and then we'll do our nice warrior one flow. So if you step the left leg back, a nice bit of space between, maybe 2-3 foot between the the feet, but I'd like you to readjust and see how you go. So the back foot is facing like the top. So my left back foot is facing the top left-hand corner of the mat, and both feet and the front foot is really facing straight up. So if you turn that foot out too much, you're going to have quite a struggle with the hips and the lower back to bring yourself facing forward. So really make sure that you are aware of your feet. And of course, if you're overbalancing, you want to just widen them to the sides of the mat. So let's have a soft with both knees. Soft with both knees, okay? Inhale, and as you exhale, straighten the back leg. Front knee stays soft. Let's lift. So we've got the block between the hands. Lift. We're facing, I'm going to move around so you can see straight forward as well. You're lifting up. Now, if that's a bit high, please keep the block here. That's absolutely fine. Okay, I'm going to move back so that you can see where I'm headed with this. You're going to lift up your warrior one. You're going to exhale, draw the elbows in, slightly lean forward, and you're going to inhale a bit further here, and exhale. You're going to take that left elbow to the right knee and gently rotate to the right side. Keep the right elbow tucked in and bring it back to center and lift. Good. Step it forward, step it back. So these are just warm-ups to the next thing we're about to do. Check the back foot. So I'm going to turn around. So I'll stay the same. I'm going to turn towards you with this one. Okay. Soften both knees. So a little bit soft with both knees. Back knee. Then straighten that back leg. Lift it up with the arms or just take it in front, seeing what you want, seeing what it works for you. Good. Inhale. Get your balance. Exhale, bring the hands down and lean gently forwards. Rotate so that front right elbow comes towards the knee. Keep that top elbow down a bit. So you just got a bit of rotation there. And then to the front, then to up, and bring the back leg in. Give that a bit of a shake out. So we're going to play around a bit more with your warrior ones. Let's place the block down at the front of the mat. Put the right foot just to the outside and slightly behind, and step back again with the left leg. Soften the back knee. Inhale and exhale, straighten the back leg. Push the heel down and away. Good. Inhale. So we're going to exhale, take the arms up to the sky for your warrior one. Obviously, if it's not comfortable, take it here. We're going to do 3 different hand positions. Now, I'd like you to, they get progressively more difficult, so I'd like you to stay on the low ones if you get there and you find it's too much. We're going to take the arms up to the sky. Inhale, exhale here. Right. Inhale. And as you exhale, you bring the arms down beside you and you lean 3/4 of the way forward. Inhale and exhale, and you fold all the way forward, gently straightening the front leg. Obviously, it may need a bit of a bend in it. Hands to the block. Roll that forehead towards the knee. So it's a big old stretch of that right leg, the front leg. Draw that right hip back. And then soften the front knee, lift up so the back is long. Place the left hand down and the right hand goes to the lower back. And keep that lift. Try not to do a rotation from a collapsed position. So you're lengthening and then rotating to the right. Hand can stay on the lower back. Good. Keep that right hip drawing backwards and rotate that back to front. Lovely. Release the block, uncurl. Straighten the front leg and soften both knees. Inhale, arms go up to the sky. And as you exhale, straighten the back leg. Inhale. And exhale, draw these arms out. So I'm just going to rotate, so to cactus, and lean once more 3/4 of the way forward. Or 2/3 of the way forward, I should say, maybe. Inhale and exhale, float it down. Inhale here. Exhale, left hand down, right hand to lower back. Lengthen halfway and exhale, rotate to the side. Good, inhale and exhale. And inhale and exhale, come all the way up. Soft both knees. Inhale, straighten the arms up to the sky, and exhale, lengthen out that back heel. So you're back into your warrior one. And this time, do keep the arms low if you want to. We're going to exhale and reach forward, keeping the arms alongside the ears, try not to drop them down or raise them up too high. And you're leaning forwards again. Inhale here, exhale, fold. Inhale, draw that right hip back. Now here we're going to draw the weight forwards and lift the back leg. You can even pick up the block and take it a bit further in front if that helps. So we're coming into a warrior three there with the hands on the block. So you want to keep the forehead facing down towards the floor, crown of the head lengthens away, back leg lengthens away. And then step back into that warrior one. If you can visualize the warrior one, plant the foot back down and uncurl all the way back up. Okay, so this is building on everything we've done before. Step it in, step it out. So other leg, bring the block in. Lovely, soften the back knee. Inhale, arms up, exhale, straighten the back leg. Inhale, exhale, float the arms alongside you. So we're working the back and we're doing loads of functional movement as well as lots of lovely yoga stuff. Okay, inhale, exhale, fold, front leg comes as straight as comfortable. Remember, we're not pushing into any pain here. It's all about breath, all about finding spaces. And then soften, left hand goes down, right hand goes down, left hand to lower back. Lift and lengthen, and then rotate. So if you're more comfortable with this, obviously the front leg can straighten as much as possible, but otherwise keep that knee bent. Rotate back to center, soften the knee, uncurl. Lovely, inhale, both knees bent a little bit. And as you exhale, stretch that back leg out and lift the arms. Inhale, warrior one. And as you exhale, arms to cactus. Inhale at cactus and exhale, fold. Good. Inhale and exhale. All the way forward. Good, inhale, forward, draw that left hip back. Left hand to lower back, right hand on the block, lift halfway, inhale. Exhale, take the rotation. Knee soft or lengthened or somewhere in the middle. Exhale back to center and curl yourself all the way back up. For the last one, soften both knees. Inhale and exhale, straighten back leg, lift the arms. Inhale. Exhale, reaching forward, obviously adjust the arms as necessary. Inhale here, lengthening out, and exhale, fold. Take a lengthening there. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take that balance. So we're lifting the weight forward, planting that right foot, pick up the block where you need to, and you're lengthening and opening. You can flex the back foot, you can point the back foot, whatever feels comfortable. Good. And obviously, if you know that you can float in your warrior three, please feel free. But otherwise, keep the hands on a block. Now visualize coming back to warrior one. So you step the foot all the way back and transfer the weight. Uncurl, step it forward and release. Give that a shake out, come to standing. Inhaling and exhaling. Good. So let's just keep a block to the side and step up to the front of the mat. And inhale, exhale, hands to the heart. Inhale, lift it up. And exhale, soften yourself forward, curl it down. Hands onto the fronts of the legs, hold on to something, lift and lengthen the backs of the legs, tuck the chin right in so that you can feel it. Give the legs a rub if they're feeling a bit tight. Half rise, heels of those hands right underneath the kneecaps, broaden and lengthen through the shoulders and chest. Fold it down. We're going to step that left leg all the way back and bring the knee to the floor. Lift and lengthen through the chest. Let's get a bit of movement. So we're coming the hips back, bring the hips forward. Lift the toes as you bring that leg, hip back and forward. And again. Good, bring it back. Right hand goes down, left arm goes up. Draw the left hip in as you do this. And take the hand all the way down. Tuck the back toes under. Step both legs back to your plank. Tuck the hips towards the rib cage so that you're not collapsing in the lower back. Good. Drop the knees to the floor. Take the right foot out behind you. Plant. You can plant the right elbow if that feels better, or you can stay on the hand and you can rotate to take a side plank. Obviously, variations thereof are most acceptable as well. Good. Take the hand down, come back to plank, and then either drop the left knee and or swivel on the feet, or drop the left elbow. So I'm just taking it on the elbow on this side. And what the good practice to do is always try and get that shoulder over the elbow or the wrist. Good. Bring it all the way back to your plank. Drop those knees again. And remember, if you're working with the shoulders and arms, you want to come chest down. Otherwise, let the thighs, the pelvis, lower yourself all the way down. Hover the hands, squeeze the bottom, lift and lengthen through the chest. Exhale down. Let's find a cobra. Let's really squeeze those elbows in. Push gently. Squeeze the bottom. You can look over the right shoulder. You can look over the left shoulder. Back to center. All the way down. Your choice whether you want to do down dog. Either to down dog or to half down dog. Give it all a bit of a wiggle. Lovely. And we're going to step that right foot on the outside of the right hand. So it's come to the outside. Do you remember when we turn the toe out? We're going to take those little hip circles around. Hip circles all around. Good. And bring that back to center. Tuck that back toe. Move that right foot in, so inside the hands, and step or hop it all the way through, uncurl. We'll do the same thing to the other side. Lift it all the way up. Open, hands to heart. Inhale, lift up and lengthen, curl it down. Lift and lengthen here, Ardha Uttanasana, Uttanasana. Left leg goes back into your runner's lunge. Toes go up to the sky as you move. Good, enjoy it. Find a little bit more space each time you do this. If you need to use blocks, I should have said on the other side, use your blocks. Bring the floor a bit closer. Good. Bring that all the way back to center. Plant the hands through to your plank. From your plank, you're going to drop left knee in, left elbow, or stay up on the foot. Rotate. And if you're rotated, whatever you do, you want to be lifting this underside and opening. Good. Bring it all the way back. You can always do this just on the elbows. Squeeze the glutes so the hips don't lift, and turn to the other side. Good.
Be aware of the arm and the shoulder and how it's all feeling, and bring it back up to your plank. And whichever way you know that you get down to the floor, whether that's chest first or hips first, you go for it. Bring yourself down, hands hover, squeeze the bottom, lift the chest, elbows squeezed into the sides, and lower it down. And then find your cobra. Lovely. Now you really don't need to lift up very high. Lower down. On this one, we're going to bring the elbows to the floor. And we're actually going to do that Sphinx. So we're going to lift, and we're going to lengthen from the navel to the throat. So this time, rather than focusing on the lower back, although you still want to keep the glutes nice and tight, you'd want to lengthen through the front of the body. So you feel that length, navel to throat or to chin. And gently lower that down. Hands under the shoulders, either to down dog or to half down dog. That's entirely up to you. Half down dog, you're on your knees, lengthening yourself away. Otherwise, full down dog. Lovely. Okay, we're going to take the left leg and you're going to place it on the outside of the left hand. Obviously, drop the right knee and bring it there if that's more comfortable, more accessible. And let's move those hips around. Lovely big circle, turn the toe out. Just to give the hips a little bit more space to move around in. Good. And let's bring that back. Scoot that foot to center. Now, hop up on the toes. You either hop, 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 or bring it in one big step. And uncurl all the way back up to standing. Yay. Hands to heart. Roll the shoulders. See how you feel. Catch your breath. Give the wrists and hands a bit of a shake out if that was a bit tight. And then we're going to take a few warrior twos. Do you remember we used the block? So have your block nearby. Good. And we're going to come back to the front of the mat and step. So I'm going to mirror you. I'm going to step my left foot back. We're going to soften that front knee. So again, if that means you need to shuffle the back foot. Now with this one, so the back foot is a little bit wider open, so it's a little bit more turned out than the corner of the mat, just because we're opening to the side. So it means, and you can feel it, if you then turn to the front like you would with a warrior one, there's not as much space to do that. So there's more space to just rotate a little bit here, so that we've got sort of side on to the front leg. Okay. Thing to check with the front leg is that knee hasn't collapsed in. You want to keep literally just a view of the big toe and the second toe perhaps over the front of the knee when you look down. Okay, cross the hands in front of you. Let's open them. Let's soft with those shoulders. Keep palms turned up. And again, one more. Lower body stays really still, really stable in this. Good. Now we're going to reach down and catch this nice block. Place it under the right, left rib cage. Okay, check the front knee. Forearm goes along it, so it's the long edge, okay? Top arm can stay down. It really doesn't have to shoot up. If you're happy for it to come up, gaze at the palm. Gaze at the palm, lift the face a little bit. Reach up and you'll just find it naturally draws you into a gentle, gentle back bend. Soften that right shoulder. Reach gently out of that front right hip. And gently draw it up. Exhale. Good. Scoot the block around to the other side. Same thing. But we're going into side angle. So remember, the legs stay stable. You can take this hand up if you want, or it can stay on the lower back, or it just stays on the side. So that's entirely up to you. Now, if the elbow doesn't make it to the leg, that's fine. What we don't want to do is kind of be folded forwards here. We want to keep the chest open to the side. Okay, so lots of different hand placements, lots of different place for you to move to. Now breathe there. And then exhale, push the floor away to rise yourself up. Lovely. Turn to the front. Lovely. Bring the back heel with you and step it forward. And then step back for the other side. So I'll move around and I'll step back with my right foot, the other foot. Good. So, that's my training then. Okay, anchor, find warrior two. And around. So my right leg is back. Good. I'm going to reach and pick up my block. Take it to the rib cage. Squeeze it in. Not too much thought around this. Just focus on the breath. See if the balance goes a little bit. Reaching up and out. Keeping that knee opening at the front. Push the floor away to rise it up. Not lifting and hauling and hurting yourself in any way. Side angle. Or with the hand behind the back. Keep it open to the side. So if you're just taking a little lengthening there, that's fine. But draw that, draw the block into the rib cage to give you support there, so you can really feel down into the feet. Okay, you don't need to force it all the way down. And then push the floor away to lift yourself up. Swivel to the front, so swivel on the heel and the ribs go in the same direction. Step it forward. Lovely. Give everything a bit of a wiggle out there. And come and plant your feet on the mat. Find your focus, find your balance straight from that warrior two. Find your point of balance, perhaps between the eyebrows, out to 6-8 foot in front of you, and curve it down to the floor. It's just not going to move. Lovely. And let's start with a little flowing balance. Let's pick the right knee, left arm. Notice the pauses. Notice where there are no pauses. Notice where you think, oh, perhaps I could have had a pause there. Keeping the mind really still. Maybe come back to that Ujjayi breath. Next time you pick up that right leg, why not pick it up in front, rotate it out to the side, and find your tree pose. Doesn't matter where the leg comes to. If it wants to come higher, let it come higher. If it's happy staying low, let it stay low. Find your way into a comfortable Vrikshasana. Trying not to hold the breath, but you can use a wall support. And then very slowly, wherever your hands are, bring them back to the heart and release the leg. And just gently move through the feet to readdress the balance. And let's pick the left leg, right arm. Let's just do a few flowing movements, keeping the balance, keeping that focus just before you pick up. And next time you pick up that left leg, why not? Pick it up, rotate it out, find your tree pose, wherever it wants to go. And then slowly, wherever the hands are, bring them back to the heart. And release the leg. And once more, come and stand. Slowly take the weight side to side from the feet. Let the blood rush back. And then move that into your figures of 8. So remember, your figures of 8 are coming around the feet. It's not from the hips. We're drawing a lovely figure of 8 around the toes, along the diagonal in between. So you're going to the back of the other heel, around the outside. Just shifting that weight around. And then take it back the other way. Good, and bring it back to center. Let's take the legs a little bit wider, maybe mat width. If you know that coming down onto a squat isn't for you, need to stand on the floor. Otherwise, turn the toes out slightly, lift the chest. When you get there, if you can, pause for a little bit. Just come and pause. Good. And then pop the bottom down on the floor. Good. So on the floor, let's do that boat pose that we did before. We're going to move through a few little movements. You keep the hand down, you can keep one foot down, you can bring the arms up, you can stretch them out a little bit further. So please, we're just taking a few pauses, maybe lift, maybe come down, using the core a little bit, both feet down, and then you're going to scoop the belly. So round out the belly, draw it down towards the spine, lower the back down. Give yourself a lovely long stretch, stretch out the legs. Now, if you know that you've got the ability to roll yourself upwards with the legs long, do that. Otherwise, bend the knees. Bring the fingertips up to the sky wherever you are. Tuck the chin in and roll all the way up and take a fold forward wherever you're at. Remember, forward fold comes from the hip creases, not from rounding the back. So if you find you get to here and the spine is already bending, fingertips behind you and lengthen. If you're able to roll it forward, roll forward. From wherever you've got to, lift the arms alongside the ears and rise the spine back up to sitting and bring the arms out in front of you. Bend the knees if you need to. We're going to scoop down. We're going to do that again. Scoop it all the way down. Arms go back behind you. Lengthening it out. Good. And then draw those arms up to the sky. Tuck the chin in. Scoop the belly down. Curl yourself all the way up and fold it forward. Let's pause for a moment in your forward fold. So you're either in, this is a really nice way, you don't have to grab the hands, you can have the hands down the floor, you can lift the spine, you can have the hands behind you. What we want to try and teach the body is it doesn't need to round the back, you don't have to force to get there. We're working from the hips so it doesn't impinge in the lower back. Good. You can just stay folded in a nice upright position. Good. And then we're going to release that and draw it back up to seated. Slide those feet in. We're going to come back to boat pose once more. So lift the chest, open. You can either come to both legs or one leg. You can have hands up, hands down, or full boat pose. Please play around. You can have one arm, one leg, variations. Within that, playing around with what? Making it a bit fun, And then plant those feet or lengthen them out and roll yourself all the way down to the floor. So we're just going to have a little look around that pelvis, that little movement we did at the start. Make yourself comfortable. That movement we did at the start. So 10 pence piece, 12 at the front, 6 at the back, looking at the tailbone. Gentle movement, 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, with the tailbone. So really take your awareness down to that area. Visualize moving the tip of the tailbone on a 10 pence piece. 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock. Now we're going to bring in the 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock, the whole clock face. So bring it back to 12 and gently move to 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and carry on nice and slow, getting to 6 o'clock. Make sure you're at 6 o'clock, you're not some way off it. And then 7, 8, and 9, and you haven't kind of scooted the hips off in a funny direction before you reach to 10, 11, 12, and then back the other way from 12 to 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, and 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and back to center. And just pause there if you want to take another little round. Do so. Remember, these are all about finding ease, all about finding that place of comfort. And we're going to pause there with the pelvis and take it to that little knobbly bit just below where the rib cage meets. It might just feel a little bit tender in there. So let's go easy with it. And we're going to move that to 12 o'clock, to 6 o'clock. So you can see it's kind of the same thing as doing a very small cat and cow. Just a really small movement. And obviously, because we've got more pressure on this area, it's more difficult to take it round in a circle to do the whole clock face. So we're just doing 12 and 6. And bring that back. And then soft palate. Think about soft palate, drawing that gently forwards and drawing it gently back. Really leading with that soft palate. Exploring the comfortable range of movement, but without putting any effort into it. Just super soft. And then to the crown of the head. And take that crown of the head around in funny little circles of a clock face in one direction. Really tiny, like it's on 10p piece. And then back around the other way. But to anyone who's looking at us, they think we're just lying here, doing nothing, doing really important work. Little do they know. Bring it back to center. And let's just move those hands. Backs of the hands, palms of the hands. Backs of the hands, palms of the hands. Backs of the hands, palms of the hands, and bring the right leg in. Now you can grab a strap or a blanket, whatever you've got. I've got a strap, so let's just start moving. Okay, lengthen out the left leg if you know that's comfortable and you want to sort of get as much space between the two legs. Otherwise, the lower back's a bit dicey. Plant the foot. Otherwise, soften the shoulders and we'll just get that gentle knee in and lift the heel. Working and easing out those hamstrings. Good. Just a couple of rounds of that. Then let's lift the heel. Really stretch the legs apart if they're apart. Otherwise, if you've got the left foot bent, just lift that right heel all the way up to the sky. Great. And soften the knee. Take the strap in the right hand. Bring the left knee in. So you plant the hand on the left knee and lengthen that right leg. Now you're dropping both legs to the sides. but you've got an equidistant gap so that my right leg isn't dropped further than my left. I can feel both dimples in my lower back planted on the floor, so I'm not favoring one side over the other. Draw them together, plant the left foot, strap in the left hand, and let the left knee sort of slightly plop to the right, and the right leg resting on the left leg, heading over to the left. So they're crossed over, and turn those toes back towards the face, and you find probably a lovely little sweet spot there. Soften the belly. Both dimples of the back on the floor. Bring it back. Bring the knee in, lose the strap, and let's find your lovely supine pigeon pose. If you want to flip over onto your front, take pigeon pose here, do that, but you'll have to pause the video a little bit. Good, so we plant that ankle on top, and if you've got a wall, even better, or a sofa or something, you can plant, get a nice right angle. And if the wall's a bit further away, come up onto the tiptoes, or even, yeah, tiptoes would be good. You can catch the heel. I'm going to scoot it a little bit more. I could pick the heel up. And then I don't have to use the shoulders. I can just kind of let them hop out there. Good. Keep breathing. Make sure you've not dropped over onto the right side. And release that. Bring it back. And wherever you are, find your strap. Give the hips a bit of a wiggle out. Make sure that right leg's feeling okay. Pop it round the left leg. And let's do the same thing. So bend and release. Bend and release. And then pick that left heel up. Give it a really good, lovely, comfortable stretch up there. And then release the straps and bring the left hand onto it, right hand onto right knee. And let's open the legs out. Now you're going to find there's more restriction in one side than there is in the other. So notice that. Notice if it's a bit stiffer when you draw them back together on one side. Put the right foot on the floor, let the knee head to the left, strap in right hand, and left leg heads across. But remember, we're not tipping onto the right side. We're keeping that left hip firmly anchored down. Turn the foot back towards the face. Lovely. And release. And then find your figure four or pop over into your frontwards pigeon. Use a wall like I'm going to. And you can settle there just for a few minutes. Make any adjustments you need to. Perhaps there's some place that you can actually start to enjoy this. Make sure you haven't got a permanent sense of kind of twisting and stretching and too much tension going on. You can really find yourself dropping into a place that feels good rather than overstretched. If we come out of this, we've just got more round for the shoulders. Good. Let's release that off. Give it a shake out. Make sure you come back to your mat. And sort of crawl your way back there. All the way back. So it can be nice to put a blanket or a block between your legs. That's between the thighs. To roll onto your left side. Hands together out in front of you. So the knees don't have to be stacked, okay? It's much, if you've got particularly a tight sore lower back, it's much actually better for the knees not to be stacked. Okay, so they they have freedom to flow apart. And you can take one hand over the top. Let's take it into an open book there. Don't force the shoulders down if they don't want to come down. Take it all the way back. Keep one hand as close to the floor as you can make it. Slide it out and away once more. Keep that arm out to the right. And then we're going to draw those knees up. Plant the feet on the floor and roll across. Slide that left hand to meet the right. Let the hips move. Let's not force the hips into a lower back twist that's uncomfortable. Take it around. Last time, all the way back and open. Settle the arm and bring those knees back to center. Good. And now, please find your way into comfortable position. You've got 1 minute of Shavasana here with me, but I welcome you to, or invite you to stay a bit longer because I've left it quite tight. But I'm also going to create for you just an extra nidra so that you can do that anytime. You can do that instead of this. I really urge you to do this. And you've got to the end of this, so you've probably already done it. I'm going to put the extra nidra on a separate recording for you. So perhaps that's the bonus you've got for getting to the end of this class. Okay, so settle yourself on your back, whatever's comfortable, legs on a sofa, sitting in the sofa. Just for a moment, just gently squeeze all the muscles really, really tight. And then soften and let everything go all the way down to the floor. Sink yourself to the floor. Imagine it's lovely and warm, tropical sun, or just a fire warming your bones. And wrap yourself in a hammock of the softest velvet, the color of the midnight sky. And just allow yourself to settle into that. Gently swaying with the tide of the breath. Being rocked in the ebb and flow. And then if you'd like to stay a little bit longer, please do. Otherwise, feeling the ground beneath you, supporting the body, or whatever you've got underneath you, supporting you. Gently begin to wiggle and stretch. And let the focus come back. When you're ready, rolling over. So you'll be seated, ready to restart your day. Thank you for doing this practice with me.